Hello Griffin Scopers, welcome back into our cosy little sound booth, the corner of YouTube where we like to do character analysis, looking at the various energies and life lessons that are running around a person's life. These energies do not change, they will be with this person all the way from birth through till crossing over. So today we're looking at a very beautiful, upbeat kind of energy. I've wanted to cover this little chappie for so long now. We're looking at the Wells's youngest child, that is Prince Louis. So guys, if that's something that interests you, please stick around. If anybody would like a private reading with me, do get in touch. My email address is in the description box. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to just say a really big thank you to every one of my subscribers. You are so appreciated. I really mean that from the bottom of my heart to you guys. Right, without further ado, let's get into this reading. So I'm going to pan the camera down so that we can see what cards he's actually got. So we're going to start with the Hierophant. He's a Taurus energy, and Prince Louis is 7 years old now. Can you believe it already? And he's born on England's National Day, which is St. George's Day. England's Day, the original dragon slayer was St. George, and the patron as well of courage and a guardian of the sacred order. So that's the energy that Prince Louis was born under. Also, he was born under a half moon, which was a Leo moon as well. So you can see all that kind of drama, how it comes through in him. So because the day you're born on isn't random, it's like the universe kind of leaves a thumbprint on you in terms of energy, vibration and frequency. And St. George's Day carries one of the strongest frequencies in the English calendar. And when someone is born on that day, especially a royal child born, then literally, you know, a symbol of order and hierarchy, that energy really does make an imprint on them. So when we talk about Prince Louis, we're not just talking about a kid who, you know, pulls cheeky faces at parades. We're talking about someone born under the archetype of the dragon slayer. He's carrying the vibration of St. George, who meets the Hierophant in this situation. So the warrior and the priest, the one who protects the realm and preserves the sacred. Is wild because, you know, you can see that in his spirit. He's got that kind of boldness and that cheek, that refusal to be completely crushed by the weight of protocol at times. So that's not disrespect. That's the St. George energy saying, you know, keep it real. Don't let ceremony turn into cold stone. That's how the universe plays its poetry. It gives us a royal born on England's holy day of courage and makes him the one who teaches the whole institution how to laugh again. So Prince Louis is a little mini Hierophant energy in miniature form. The Hierophant is the keeper of tradition. Is also the Queen's archetype as well. And being the keeper of tradition reminds us that there are things that are worth preserving in one's traditions. So Louis isn't your stiff, solemn Hierophant in robes. He's the one giggling at the crown, covering his ears during the anthem, making faces on the balcony, like he's saying, you know, if we're gonna stick to these traditions and keep them alive, can we at least have a bit of fun doing it? So that's the modern Hierophant energy, the one who knows that rituals only stay sacred if they're real, if they're alive, if there's laughter in the Hierophant's temple here. So he's not breaking tradition, he's refreshing it, reminding everyone that the divine doesn't always need to be serious in order to be sacred. So the Hierophant is the teacher archetype, and Louis is doing just that instinctively. He's a born teacher in a child's body, not teaching with words, but with his energy, the kind of energy that he brings. He shows the world that you can be royal and real and disciplined and human as well, and sacred and silly. So the Hierophant stands between heaven and earth. He literally translates the divine truth into human language, and that's what he'll eventually do as he's growing, because he's learning at the moment how to be the Hierophant. So that's what Louis does for the monarchy. He translates tradition into something that's alive, human and joyful. So yes, he is a mini Hierophant, you know, the holy troublemaker, said with love, the teacher disguised as a child, and the laughter that just keeps the crown from turning into cold stone. The Hierophant governs all of the fives in the tarot, and the fives are an expression of the Hierophant's realm, in so much as, you know, yes, it's order, tradition, structure, and holy authority, but the fives represent what happens when order is disrupted. So when you test the rules, question authority, or evolve the system, this is what you're going to get. The tests through these particular fives. So we're going to start with the Five of Wands, and here we see him as that kind of playful challenger. This is the card that it's kind of like chaotic play, I guess. People bumping into each other, trying to find out where they fit and figuring out who's in charge. So Prince Louis is that energy really incarnate. He, you know, when he's making his faces on the royal balcony, waving at the crowds madly while everyone stands completely solemn, that's the Five of Wands in action. You know, he's saying, can we stop taking ourselves so seriously? He tests that hierarchy, not to destroy it, but to make it breathe again. Like he's forcing the kingdom to kind of loosen its collar a little bit. And the lesson is that he shakes the stale structures awake. In the Five of Swords, this is a card about power dynamic. What happens when someone refuses to play by the rules, even if it causes a little bit of a stir? So Louis's Five of Swords energy shows up when he challenges authority in small but ironic ways, you know, side-eyeing the camera, making his parents laugh when they're trying to be official. He's learning where his power sits and kind of how to play with it as well. In the Five of Cups, as Louis grows up in an institution that demands perfection, Louis will face some of this card's energy. It's a kind of sadness and a mourning that goes with this card, you know, moments of emotional suppression where he's not able to express himself and get away with it, the expectation of feeling unseen at times in that role as the spare. You know, no matter how beautifully the Waleses are bringing him up, that aspect will still creep in a little bit. So behind Louis's humour is a real sensitivity that childlike purity that refuses, excuse me, to fake joy. Someone who doesn't just perform tradition, but who must feel it in the very first place. In the five, let's shove these along a little bit. Okay, so in the Five of Pentacles, this is the powerful twist, because even inside royalty, you can still feel a little bit of an outsider. And as well, you know, as his uncle Harry knows full well. But I'm not putting him in the same category as his uncle Harry. So Five of Pentacles is a card about vulnerability, being human in a system that idolizes perfection. That's why people love Louis. He doesn't just kind of perform royalty. He embodies realness. So when you see him, you know, pouting, squirming, laughing, or covering his ears, that kind of honesty is quite radical within the monarchy. We don't see it often. So he may grow up at times feeling a little bit like he doesn't fit into the perfect royal mold, and that's what is going to make him powerful potentially later on when he's more grown, because the one who feels the cold learns to build a warm fire, but his spirit can carry warmth for the forgotten. You know, the people are the point of the whole point of monarchy, the love and the warmth that can be shown to the common folk. In time, if he steps into public life, he can channel that kind of empathy outward towards causes that touch the lonely, the voiceless, outsiders here. Like, for instance, the homeless, like his father has done. So because the Five of Pentacles soul never forgets what it's like to stand outside, you know, the glowing palace window, even if they grew up inside it, he won't forget what it feels like to be a little bit of an outsider or a loner at times. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Louis's lightness and humour might actually protect him in the long run, helping him to process the pressures, the expectations before they harden him into duty. So the way laughter kind of protects every soul that remembers how to embrace joy. Okay, so all the fives are like the growing pains, if you will, and they're all challenges that he can alchemize into wisdom, and that's where temperance begins or comes in. So when conflict gives way to balance, when extremes learn to blend and make peace instead of fight, this is what we're talking about. How, you know, how he can create a harmonious flow. This is going to be a big life lesson for him. So this combination of the Hierophant and the Temperance can also be known as the Rebel and the Saint. So learning to go with the grain, learning about tradition, doing things by the book, being a student of tradition, and then learning to kind of push against it and returning to the grain to understand why those home truths are there, those traditional home truths work. And, you know, finally, as he grows, he's going to be weaving all of this together, you know, pushing against things and then going with the grain. into his own unique kind of a balance through the temperance energy. The temperance energy blends together opposites and or extremes, and instead of pulling them apart, you know, it is about blending them together, the old with the new, this kind of thing. So he's kind of like a mini temperance in training. He's learning when to act, when to observe, and in doing so, he's learning the lesson of conscious moderation. Moderation is a watchword that goes with this card. So he's temperance, in motion, blending the extremes, the expectations of royalty with the natural joy of childhood. It's not for him about following rules blindly, nor ignoring them entirely, because true power comes from integration. It's a more powerful kind of way of thinking rather than just blindly following by the book. The laughter, the mischief, the humanity, all flowing together with grace. He reminds us, in fact, that balance isn't about perfection or control, but much more about the blending of extremes with awareness, with harmony. It's born from kind of like embracing all parts of ourselves, you know, the serious and the joyful, the rebel and the saint. So I'm going to leave it there for Prince Louis. Let's get into an oracle card. I want to ask the question, actually, what is the spiritual alignment between Louis and St. George? It's such a powerful alignment that there's got to be some kind of a meaning behind it. We're going to wait for a flyer. Show us the energy, please. Let's get my crystal in my hand. Show us the energy. Show us the energy. What's the alignment? What's the alignment? What does it mean for Prince Louis being born on England's Day? And we've got one. Oh gosh. Okay, we've got a few. So I think I'll just take the top one and the bottom. This almost looks like a homeless person. So I said, didn't I, in the Five of Pentacles, he's going to have that sensitivity to bring to people potentially that are on the outside, on the margins, the edges of life, just like his father's doing. Interesting. Didn't his father raise millions of pounds for, gosh, you'll know what I mean, you royal watchers, people that are going through suicidal tendencies, that kind of thing, and that are feeling hopeless and depressed. Powerful stuff. Let's take the bottom. From the bottom, we have, yes, harmony, everything that the temperance is about. I've got tingles, guys. Harmony, balance, peace, and happiness. Yeah, he's going to be on the right tracks. I've got a good vibe about that. Okay, let's get into some pendulum readings. Okay, so you know the drill. It's a right for a yes, a left for a no, an up and down for a maybe, and a stop for a block. So does Louis's energy currently lean more towards rebel than saint in his current life stage? Because obviously, you know, he's growing, he's changing. And I get more of a yes for that. Second question, does Louis's Five of Wands energy, so the Five of Wands, let's just remind ourselves, was this one. And you know, seeing himself as the playful challenger, you know, chaotically playing, people bumping into each other to find their place. So is his Five of Wands energy, is that an indicator of deeper conflict ahead? Is that an indicator of deeper conflict ahead? And we've got a no. Brilliant. Because that's tallying in with his oracle cards of harmony and balance. So it's not an indicator of anything bad to come. Good, good, good. Let's get into some charms next. Right, what have we got? Okay, so we've got a horse, and it looks like it's in mid-gallop. And horses just love to be free, don't they? Charge around, free spirit. That's George. Oh, George, Louis. We did George last time. We've got the cheeky little monkey. Yes, he's a cheeky monkey, but like I've been saying in the reading, it's nothing negative. And it keeps the monarchy from turning into cold stone. Brings a bit of joy, laughter, happiness. We've got a musical symbol. Interesting. I think I heard somewhere that he likes drumming. He's into music, but he likes to drum. Cool, cool, cool. Yes. Right, so we've got the Libran scales of balance. That's interesting because I'm not covering his soul cards in this reading, but he is actually the Justice as his soul cards, because we're looking at character cards today, and it's all about the balance, isn't it? Perfect. And lastly, I love that. I love that. We've got an angel wing. So coupled with the little monkey and the horse spirit as well. He's a mixture, isn't he? He's a mixture, and he's blending the balance. He's learning to do that. Wow, interesting reading. Our very own little St. George energy in the monarchy. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for joining me today. Anyone wants a private reading, do get in touch. The email address is in the description box. And I hope you've enjoyed this one. I will see you on the next. Fly well.